Hey, True Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I'm wondering if today you have heard the news that a volcano erupted in Chile that has not erupted for 42 years. CNN's not the only news network reporting this story this way. A lot had mentioned that. I tried to look up the date of the last time it erupted, and every source right now just says 1972. I can't find the month of the day, but I know it erupted in 72. And why is that curious? Well, its coordinates are, it's on the 41st parallel south and the 72nd meridian west, and it erupted in 72. 42 is a degree off 41, both numbers of significance in this numerology gematria study. But where the 42 factors in is today's date numerology. Today is April 23rd, 2015. 4 plus 23 plus 15 equals 42. Today is also the 113th day of the year. Very important number in this study. Apocalypse has a gematria of 113, this biblical number, and the original Bibles were 42-line Bibles. You want to see where this gets real weird, though, Truth Seeker? I went to Wikipedia. At first, I was just searching for the date it erupted last. Even on Wikipedia, it just mentions 1972. It doesn't say the day or month. But check this out. This picture over here of the mountain is from February 11th, 2010. Who knows why that's curious? Let's see. I'll give you a second to think about it. Then Wikipedia will reveal. February 11th is the 42nd day of the year, Truth Seeker. And we're getting these headlines about it erupting for the first time in 42 years. It erupted on a date with 42 numerology, the 113th day of the year. It was one of those rare eruptions that also attracted lightning. Let's watch the mainstream coverage of this. Here we go.
Take a look at the sky turned red in southern Chile. Authorities there declared a red alert after a volcano erupted for the first time in almost half a century. The 2,000-meter Calbuco volcano erupted Wednesday, spewing this giant ash cloud in the Los Lagos region, and officials ordered an evacuation and airlines cancelled flights in the affected area.
Okay, meteorologist Pedram Javaheri joins us now with more on this. So it looks spectacular, but for anybody close by, it's pretty terrifying. And I guess there's been some evacuations too because of that.
Yeah, 1,500 people in close proximity. And, you know, this is one of those volcanoes, it could be among the most destructive. We know in this part of the world, it is one of the most dangerous volcanoes. Stratovolcanoes, Mount Vesuvius, for example, one of the famed ones near Naples, Italy, that killed thousands of people. So the potential for this is quite high to be destructive and has been sound asleep since 1972. So pretty impressive. Guys, and you know, 1961 there was another eruption before this, but only 10 eruptions since
61. Remember, that was the number of the week earlier with Gyrocopter Doug Hughes, the 61-year-old. 61's the year JFK came into office. Vietnam War started. Nuclear scare in Greensboro, where Loretta Lynch is from, who was sworn in today. More of that 42 black cake coating. All right, let's continue here.
the 1800s, so this comes back to life. So it's
Getting busier.
It's getting a little busier here. Yeah, I mean, look at the images. Satellite imagery, you can see from space the explosion as it took place into the early morning and eventually into the afternoon hours. Just remarkable to see this because it just fans out, cruises up to the north and east, out towards the Andes indicated there by the snow-capped mountains. But again, when you could see it on satellite imagery, generally clear skies across this region of the world when this occurred. Spectacular sight. There's the Chilean volcano right there in place. Calbuco, 2,000 meters high, as you heard. So pretty stark mountain when you stand right in front of it. Last eruption, as we told you, 1972, 400 to 500 meters wide when you get to the summit crater at the very top of it. So you can literally take football fields from the Premier League, put 5, 6 of them up here at the very top of the volcano, and that is how large of a feature this is. And again, you talk about looking at this and seeing it in the perspective that some people in close proximity had it. Look at the glow off the lake, 15-kilometer high ash getting up to the ash cloud.
Before we watch this next video, I just want to remind you that the nuclear weapons program, a lot of it started in Washington, the 42nd state. And I wonder if these madmen in the decades that they were doing this underground nuclear testing didn't plant some massive bombs along some fault lines and maybe some provoking areas for volcanoes. Let's check out this other news footage.
You will see in this photograph some of the lightning strikes that are occurring. That's quite rare when it comes to any sort of volcanic activity until you get to some of the largest volcanoes. Then you have the ability to get some of the electric discharge that takes place within them. And oftentimes you think about thunderstorms and the way they spark lightning strikes, where you have, of course, ice crystals and hail beginning to kind of grind against one another as they're falling out of the sky and creating that static electricity, or essentially the charged particles in the atmosphere. Same thing happening. We've got ash. We have also large rocks falling down across this region as this is occurring. So we're getting this buildup of electrical discharge taking place across portions of southern portions of Chile. But look at the satellite imagery and draw your attention down to the bottom of your screen. Initial eruption, there it goes. That was the early afternoon hours of Wednesday. Late Wednesday night, there's that second larger eruption. In fact, you can clearly see as it hugs the Andes Mountains right here, the southern tier of the Andes Mountains, how impressive it is. And this region, Puerto Montt, that's about a city of 500,000 people. The Los Lagos region, essentially known as the Lakes region of Chile, one of the most beautiful areas. This is the town itself that we touched on with 250,000 people. You see the volcano right there. There's actually a second volcano back behind it. This particular one, Osorno, has not erupted since 1869. And you take a look at this again, you kind of zoom it out. We have the evacuation zone about 20 kilometers surrounding the mountain itself. About 15 or so kilometers away from the latest, the evacuation zone would be right here, and that's how close some of these towns are. And Puerto Varas, about 40,000 people live there. By the way, that's the second largest lake in Chile. So people come here right now in the autumn season, the cool season. It is a beautiful place to take holiday in, and you take a look when you have ash clouds that are going up 15 kilometers into the upper atmosphere. It is a very eerie perspective. But the mountain itself goes up about 2,000 meters, the volcanic mountain does, and 400 to 500 meters across. That is how wide the summit of the crater is across this region, guys. And of course, we've touched on this as far as the ring of fire, as it's known, where 90% of our planet's quakes occur right around the Pacific Ocean, 450 volcanoes. The second most volcanic portion of the world, as far as countries, is Chile, right behind portions there in Southeast Asia. So it is a pretty impressive sight to see this. At this point, no major damages and also no injuries to tell you about, so that's the good news.
All right, Truth Seekers. So just from the past, the day before Super Bowl 48, there was one of these curious eruptions on the 32nd day of the year. It was a mountain with a 33 named gematria, and at the time, it was curious because the town had just been sent back to the village near the mountain because it was deemed safe the day before it erupted, and then people died because of it. So, you know, it's weird. It's weird, this stuff. Storms, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes by the numbers. It just makes you wonder. I mean, what in the world is going on? Sometimes this stuff could be a coincidence, but not every time. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.